the story of Shay's birth. I truly believe that 6 months after I had Jesse, who was unexpected, not planned, sudden marriage. First, Jack had to get divorced. We can go into that later. But anyway, Jesse was only about 6 months old, and I got pregnant again, and I couldn't handle it because Jack was no help. I was realizing what the truth of my life was, and that Jack was bad, and um, and so I didn't think I should have another child, and I had an abortion. But I dreamed about it. I knew that spirit. 3 years later, that spirit came back. It was Shay. It was Shay the first time. She came back the second time. She was trouble. It was a horrible pregnancy. It sucked. It was awful. She was elbows and angles everywhere. We had planned to the T. Me and the doctor, we knew the exact conception date and when we would pull her because we weren't going to have her. I couldn't do a birth canal delivery. So, with this planned date, he went ahead and pulled her. Now, I asked for complete anesthetic. So, when I come out of the anesthetic, Papa's there with his preacher. I flip out. Where's Shay? And they said, settle down. They've taken her to Texas Children's NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. She's underweight. She's 6 weeks premature. Her lungs were too immature, and she had pneumothorax, the same thing that killed the third child of the Kennedys. Her lung collapsed. Mimi saw the line go flat, hollered for the nurse. They ran over, cut her with a knife. There's a small scar, stuck a tube in her, took her there. After I came to, they took me by ambulance there. Um, Jack left and went to Austin. Now, the doctors at the NICU said they had done everything that they could do. That she was on 118% oxygen. That's the most oxygen you can have. I could go in there every 4 hours for 5 minutes and I could touch her. And I did that. And I stayed in a room down the hall and I wouldn't speak to anyone except doctors to ask questions or whatever. Jack was in Austin. Um, the doctors told me they did not know if you would live or die. If she would live or die, they told me that it was in God's hands. And I felt that I had failed because I had smoked pot during the pregnancy and I felt I had caused it. The doctor assured me that I had not, but I think he just did that because if she did die, I would have hung myself. Anyway, about on the third day, I'm standing there at my 5 minutes and, just touching her and silent tears are rolling down my face. And this nurse goes, Sweetie, why are you crying? And I said, Well, I've never held her. And the doctors told me she might die, and I've never got to hold her, and I'm scared she'll die before I get to hold her. And the lady goes, Oh, honey. She goes, Hold your arms just like this, real careful. She goes, I'm going to set her right there. Don't move. And she let me hold her for 3 minutes. And that was good. And then after they transferred her out of the neonatal intensive care unit, they transferred her back into the regular ICU at Sam Houston Memorial, where she was born. Now, the visiting hours, I believe, were 7 to whatever. But anyway, Mimi and I were up there, with time to spare, sitting in a rocking chair right next to Shay's Dill, doing everything for her. The nurse needed to do nothing. The doctor saw 2 days of this, and because they said they were going to have to keep her 2 weeks. The doctor saw 2 or 3 days of this, and he said, Y'all can take her home. He said, Y'all can't watch her any closer than we can watch her. I had been so terrified that Shay slept on my chest for a year, just in case she quit breathing.